My roommate and his The Cat in the Hat costume. Posted by Pros. It was the 1st of November, and he was still wearing it. Our party was on the 29th of October, and it was funny then. Hell, even on the 30th it still made me laugh when I saw him occasionally creep out of his room to stock up on snacks from the kitchen. When I left the house for my 9 a.m. class on the 31st, and he was sitting in the kitchen with his Cat in the Hat costume still on, well, then I began to worry. John was quiet at the best of times, not too many friends, and I wasn't a stranger to sitting in silence at meal times. This was different though. His unnerving smile was all I could really see of his face beneath the prosthetics and makeup. It didn't help that it was shitty homemade costume either. Visible stitching and discolored tufts of fur made it all the creepier. Our other flatmate had dropped out at the start of the semester, so it was just John and I for a long time. He wasn't an inherently weird guy before this either, quiet yes, but friendly enough. "Don't you have classes to go to?" I asked as I left for work on the 2nd. He silently shook his head, not looking up from the book he was reading. "Starting to get real fucking creepy round here, man," I muttered loud enough for him to hear as I shut the door behind me. "I like it," I heard John bark with venom from the driveway. It was the night of the 3rd when I finally cracked and phoned his sister. The white patches of the suit were beginning to yellow, and there was an awful stench permeating around the house. She thought I was kidding at first, but after I explained in detail what had been going on the last few days, she went quiet. She assured me that he had been texting her regularly as he usually did, but had never mentioned the costume. I'd known the guy for a little over a year by that point, but I really didn't know that much about him. His sister told me that he'd been obsessed with the Cat in the Hat movie after he'd seen it in the cinema when he was 8 or 9, but grew out of that phase pretty quickly. She assured me that she'd phone him and get to the bottom of whatever the hell was going on. It was the smell that woke me up, that's how pungent it was. "Don't meddle with my affairs," John said, standing in the doorway with a dim light behind him which partially illuminated that fucking costume. "What the hell? Get out of here, you freak!" I shouted in a panicked daze. "Don't meddle with my affairs," he said again. His tone was calm, but there was a definite aggression behind it. He lingered there for a few more seconds, a silent tension between us. It was one of the few times in my life I'd ever felt genuine terror as I gazed at that horrendous cat costume and my roommate beneath it. The next day in class I was going through my options in my head. My other friends had recommended calling the cops, and that John was in need of some serious help. I didn't want to get him into some kind of trouble though, maybe even sectioned. My choice was made for me when 2 police detectives pulled me out of the lecture. They sat me down in the cafeteria, with stern looks upon their faces. My first thought was that John had killed himself. I don't know why, but that made the most sense to me. I was dead wrong. "Why didn't you report that he was missing? Did you not find it odd for him not to come?" one quizzed me. He isn't missing? He should be there right now, probably still wearing that stupid costume." A dog walker had discovered John's naked body in the bushes not far from my house. The police reckoned he'd been dead since the night of the 29th. They never found anyone in the house during their search, only that tattered costume which had been neatly folded on top of my bed.